Dwayne Siever with Real Milk Paint, and today we want to talk to you about hemp oil and why to use hemp oil and the different properties of hemp oil compared to other oils that you could use. Over here, well, we're going to actually work on this headboard here. That's what we're going to do. You can see how dry it is, and we want to refresh it and make it look a lot nicer. And so you'll be amazed at what the hemp oil does with this particular project. I mean, I really like a crusty finish sometimes compared to paint, always painting something, so I really wanted to save this old finish. So anyway, we have a couple of choices here. We have hemp oil, which is what we're going to use on this project, but why wouldn't I use the pure tung oil or the dark tung oil? Well, here's the reasons why. The pure tung oil doesn't really want to penetrate through an existing finish really well. So even if we thinned it with the citrus solvent, which we could do, you'd really have to thin it down quite a bit to get it to penetrate through this. So sometimes if tung oil is used over top of the existing finish, it'll tend to want to look frosty. And so I don't want to take that risk here with the tung oil going over top of this. And the same really applies to the dark tung oil too, as far as even can give you like a frosty look over top of an existing finish, because this may not be quite porous enough to accept the dark of the pure tung oil. So the viscosity of the hemp oil is really thin, so it wants to penetrate really well. Even if it sits on top of the finish, it doesn't seem to want to get a frosty look to it. Not quite as durable as the pure or the dark tung oil as far as being waterproof, but in this case, not really too concerned about the waterproof features of the tung oil. Now, if I was doing outside, or floors, then I would choose one of those two other products as opposed to hemp oil. Hemp oil is just a little bit lower on the scale as far as durability. So now I want to show you, when you get your hemp oil, you'll look inside of here and you'll see there's a foil seal. So you don't have to pull that foil seal off. I find the easiest way to work with the hemp oil is we're just going to take and punch a hole in it. So we just carefully punch a hole in here, and the hemp oil will just pour right out of there. So got a little container here. So we're going to squirt this full. And hemp oil, depending on when it's harvested, will be anywhere from a light yellow color to this kind of greenish color. It doesn't seem to have much effect on the finishes you're putting it on, unless you're putting on probably something like a white finish. So for an applicator, this is just a piece of felt, just a scrap piece of felt I have around. I kind of like an old inside of an old sock. They work really well, but we'll watch what this does here. You can see that's darkening that up immediately. And it really wants to revive and soak in for that finish. And this will keep this dark color. Over here on top and just show you what it does over these posts. Now you can leave the hemp oil on fairly heavy, especially with something porous like this. I won't even really wipe that off. I'll come back and check that in a half hour or so, and if there's still oil there, then I might wipe it off. Otherwise, we're just going to leave it on there heavy, and it'll soak right through this finish and into the wood, and it'll give it a really nice dark color and look. This bed is actually made of poplar, and some people might mistake it for cherry. The other tool I like to use often is a little toothbrush. So used toothbrushes are great for reaching in these little crevices. When you get these turning marks here where you want to get into the corners, toothbrush works great for that. Switch back to the pad here. So it's pretty simple process. You can do this on any piece of furniture that looks a little dry and like it needs a little bit of revival, and it nourishes the wood, seals it, gives it some protection. Will waterproof it to some degree, but in the end, it's a really good feeder, nourishing feeder to the wood. So I'm going to continue on with this project, but thanks for stopping by, and come by Real Milk Paint, visit one of our 200 retailers across the U.S., and pick up some fine products to use for your furniture. Thank you so much.